There are levels to the game of chess, as you probably already know by now. In this video, I'm going to show you a game I played with my student against a 2000 rated chessbot on chess.com. And the point of this video is to show you that advanced players, or very advanced players, are still making significant, substantial mistakes over the chessboard. So you should never be intimidated by a player's rating. You should always be looking at your opponent when you play a chess game like they are making the mistakes, and you should be looking and scanning for those mistakes. This will help the psychological part of your game out tremendously. But we're also going to look at the technical aspect of this game and how to spot the mistake and how an advanced player like a 2000 can make such a substantial mistake or mistakes so early on in the game. Anyway, here's the first mistake. And actually, my alarm bells were going off and we're saying that there's something wrong about this move. But I didn't actually spot the tactic here. So let's see if you guys can spot the tactic here. And I'll pause the videos right now to give you a chance to find it from here. And then I'll pause it again. Okay, so I played this, which is the best move. But here's the tactic. Now, if you didn't see it before, try to see if you can see it now. Spot the tactic to win here or to get a significant advantage on the spot. The move is knight d5. So you win a pawn, cleanly win a pawn, and that's why that move was bad by black by playing d5. Now, you might be saying, what's going on? Well, after knight takes, we play queen h5, hitting the knight twice. There's none of this because we just recapture the piece. And if the knight moves away, well, that's checkmate. That's not good. If the knight moves back here, it's not checkmate, but it's really bad. It's going to be mate in 6, actually, after we castle queenside, and this is not good. Now, you might be saying, well, what about bishop protects, development and protect? Well, there's a pin here. We'll just take, no problem. And now, if you think something like this can happen, well, we're attacking the queen. So we're good to go here. We're good to go. We're winning. So black made a mistake already. And that's not even what I'm covering in this video. That's not even the main mistake because I didn't even spot this. Now, if it was a slow game, maybe I would spot it, but still, the point is a 2000 rated chessbot is making the mistakes. So always look out for your opponent's mistakes. Okay, here we have nothing much going on. My opponent attacks me, so I just develop and defend. I'm getting out of the way and creating a possible battery. All potential. There's no battery yet to exploit, but it's there if in case, let's say there's a pawn here and black's castled, maybe. Okay, we have developing moves. So far, so good. And I develop my last piece into the game. And here my opponent makes the second mistake. This time I picked up on it. And I think the tactics here are actually, ironically, harder, more difficult to spot than the first mistake before, and I didn't spot that tactic, and I spotted this tactic. Let's see if you guys can spot the tactic. So it's very important that you see from this position that this is a mistake and why. And I know if you're not an advanced player or if you're not experienced, you might be saying, how am I supposed to find this? Well, the point is, you have to try. You don't have to find it necessarily, but you at least have to really, really try. And really, when you pause the videos, really just, if it takes you 10, 15 minutes, who cares? Really try. Because that's what's actually going to get you better. The trying part, even if you get it wrong, that's what's going to expand your chess IQ and give you more expand your tactical awareness. Trust me. Okay. So I knew this was a bad move because this pawn right here is going to be really weak after I just simply take. So she's attacking the queen. So I take because even if there was no tactics, for the sake of initiative, this is the quickest way to handle that threat. But the point was, after the pawn takes, the pawn is actually vulnerable. Now, if you didn't see the tactic before, from the beginning, maybe you can see it from here. So pause your videos again and try to see if you can spot the tactic. I played knight takes c6. Now, if my opponent plays this and takes back, you'll notice there's two isolated pawns. This one's really weak. This is no longer an isolated pawn, but it's still weak because she's not going to have time to play this. I would just simply play queen c3, hitting this and hitting this, and if she plays something like that, it doesn't matter. I take this. I could play a bunch of things, but the point is I'm going to win a pawn, and black's position is falling. So black decided to take my queen, which I calculated too. And the reason why this is just as bad, maybe even worse for black, is because when I take back, which is the only way I can take back, I'm hitting the pawn. So now black has to take back the knight, or she's down a piece. So she takes back the knight, has weak pawns, and now at the end of this variation, I simply win a pawn. Not only do we simply win a pawn here, but it's a central pawn. We gave black 2 isolated pawns from this tactic, just from taking the knight. Now these pawns had to separate. They were like this. Now they're both isolated. This one's very weak. And there's also no compensation for black, because black has a bishop pair. Oh, so do we. We're castled. Black's not. Black's king's still in the center, and the bishop's pinned to the king. Not only does black not have compensation, black has a worse position and down a pawn. The reason why I left the bar up here is to show you we're +4, but the reason why is not just because we're up a pawn. It's because of our position is so much better. So now black tries to knock my rook off this file. Of course, we're going to keep it here and pin the bishop. So we simply just go to a dark square, hit the bishop, and black protects. Now my student's like, I asked my student what he wanted to do here. He played rook e1, which is a good move. Now, what's the best move? Computer says bishop c3. This sets up a discovery. Black really doesn't have too many great options here. So yeah, that's the best. But rook e1 is a good move. And black castled queenside. Now black didn't want to get stranded here. Black, a7, rook a7 protects, but then you're eventually going to get hit with something like this, and you can't defend this anymore, and you're going to drop a piece. So, I mean, let me just go back to that. You could technically, let's say if we come here and black comes here and we come here, yeah, black can do this, but again, after something like bishop c3 now, setting up this, and not to mention we have the rooks doubled now, this is just really, really not good for black. Okay, but back to the game. Black castled after we play rook e1. Black castled, and now if we take black's bishop, black takes our bishop. Now we're still much better here. We're winning, but it's double-edged, and we don't want to go into positions that are double-edged when we have a significant advantage. We want to make the game boring. The player who has a disadvantage wants to make the game exciting and get back into the game. We don't want that. So in this position, we just played bishop c3. Now, bishop c3 gets out of the way of this attack. So it's defending the bishop. Therefore, we're attacking this bishop again, just threatening to win a piece. And we're setting up a discovery on the rook. So black has to take care of all those options. So what do you think black would play here to save the bishop and block the discovered attack on the rook? Bishop f6. However, we had a plan here. The plan was, and my student found this, is rook c5. The point of rook c5 is, yes, we're attacking a pawn, but if black takes here, he doesn't mess up our pawns and double isolate our pawns, because we can take back with the rook. But not only that, we don't take right away. We throw in this in-between move, check, first. After the king moves, now we take back with the rook. We do not double our pawns, and we just simply won another pawn, and we're just even more winning than we were before. So, because of that, black played rook d6. Now, rook d6 is simply holding on to everything, a very good, solid defensive move. But remember, we're up a pawn. Black has isolated pawns. It's just a matter of time before we break through. Now, we could just simply take over here and just win another pawn. But here we didn't. We just took the bishop first. And then after black takes, we sank our rook into the 7th rank. So now we're putting pressure on this pawn, and we have a rook on the 7th, which means black's king can never get into the game. So this is also a good way to go. Black counterattacks with threatening a back rank checkmate. This is why you always have to look for your opponent's threat after every time they move. You can't just go on with your game and start piling up the pressure and get checkmated. Your rating will always stay wherever it is. I'm not sure where it is, but trust me, if you don't see stuff like that, your rating will not move. It will move. It'll just move in the opposite direction you want it to go. And let me just take a timeout right here to just shout out to my sponsors. Oh, wait, I have no sponsors. Never mind. Anyway, but if you do like this video, make sure you please subscribe because I have much more content coming out, and it does really help the channel. Anyway, back to the game. We play h3 here. We play h3 because now we're not getting checkmated. If the rook comes down and checks us, we simply come up and we're fine. So black goes to try to get rid of the rook. We can take here, that's fine. We decided to double up. And black doubles up as well. And we just tried to move the bishop. We have a series of trades, and black comes up here, and now we take this, and black takes with the pawn. Now, if black took with the rook, this is a super simple, easy way to win. We're up a pawn. We'll just simply get our king in like this. Now, very instructional, we don't move the pawns up here and just start moving pawns and then let black's king come in, take all the pawns, and win. We move our king up. And we move our king up to the center of the board. Then we start pushing pawns, right? So that's how we play the endgame. Just a little side note there, in case you guys forgot. Black took with this pawn, however, which still is losing. It just gives black a fighting chance because oftentimes rook endgames are drawish, and she has a counterattack on this rank. The problem is she's going to give up too many pawns in the process, and it's not enough. So we take, she comes down, we attack this pawn. So now we take again, she takes. I'm moving my rook here because I want to support the rook here on e2, which defends the rest of the pawn. So after she takes this, we throw in a check. I didn't get a chance to play this because I wanted to throw in this check and then attack this pawn, which is what I did. So she takes and we take. And after all this, now we're up 2 pawns. However, she does have a pass pawn. However, we have 3 pass pawns, but still a pass pawn is a pass pawn, and it was probably the best way for the bot to play and to give themselves the best chance to win or draw the game. However, this is completely winning, as you can see by the eval bar for white. So all we do here is push. And all we want to do, it's important to understand the concepts because you can easily draw or lose this game if you don't have the right concepts in mind. Now, you don't have to memorize a series of moves. You just have to memorize or know which pawn you want to queen and then get the rook behind that pawn. That's all you have to do. It will force black's rook into the corner to stop that pawn, and then you can use your king to block this pawn. So we start pushing. Black is setting up this, getting ready to set up this blockade. We push again. Not only are we pushing, getting closer to queening, but now we have a spot to put the rook behind the pawn. So we push, forcing black here. We go behind the pawn. We push. That's stopping black's king from coming here. And now black's king is going to come here. We simply stop that by playing this. And now black comes here. Now black's going to win a pawn. But we don't care because our king is going to come and stop this pawn. And after black wins this pawn, we're going to take this pawn and still have 2 passed pawns of our own. Now, I'm just going to show you guys this because it is instructional. And I'm just going to show you how this game finished off. We were able to intercept a pawn. Black did win a pawn, but we got this pawn. And here I'm going to show you a little idea that some of you may not know. My student didn't really know it, but if it's just king and pawn and you have connected pawns, they protect each other. What do I mean by that? Black comes here, and you might be thinking, oh, we're losing a pawn. Well, no, we're not even losing a pawn because this pawn protects this pawn, and this pawn protects this pawn. And you might be saying, how is that possible? Pawns don't move backwards. No, but this only works in king and pawn. Black can't take this pawn because of this pawn, and if black takes this pawn runs away. And since the pawn and the king can only move 1 space at a time, the king is too far away, and that would end the game. And in this game, we just played off that idea with the 2 connected pass pawns, weak queens, and won the game. Anyway, hopefully you guys found that video helpful. If you did, check out this one. I'll catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.